All right, hello everybody. Let me get started. Somebody give me a thumbs up if they can hear me. Thumbs up. Somebody give me a thumbs up. Skill of the sketch. Hey, how's it going, man? All right, cool. Do something a little different tonight. I'm going to sketch. So I built this, I'm an architect, designer, right? So I built this model a few days ago out of some basswood, just playing around, looking at playing with, composition and forms and shapes. Something I carried over from college. Love building models. So I do this every now and then. Just get the old basswood out and the X-Acto knife, my tacky glue, and kind of just re-explore the craft of model making. So I'm gonna sketch this model tonight. I figured, why not? I'm gonna lower my camera back down so it's a little closer to the action. All right. So there's the list of the things I'm using. Everybody always asks, so I was like, I'm just gonna write it down and put it here on the paper. I'll push off to the side, but I'm gonna draw with my Pelican M1000. The Archimedes Document Ink Black, Artisto watercolor paper, 140 pound cold press, and probably at the end, some Sennelier watercolor if we have time. So that's the list of the materials. And like I said, I'm going to be sketching this basswood model that I made. It's kind of like a skyscraper. Anyway, so thank you all for joining Saturday night, wherever you're at in the world. It's 10 o'clock here in Oklahoma City, and we push our clocks back forward an hour tonight, so it's really 11 o'clock. So we lose an hour tonight. Let's bring forward going into daylight savings time. But we gain an extra hour of daylight. Which I like. I quite like. Actually, I like coming home in the evening and having a couple of hours of daylight before it gets dark. It's a little bit depressing to me in the wintertime. When you go home from work at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it's dark. I mean, not just a little dark, like pitch black dark. It's a little depressing. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. So anyway, I'm gonna get our sketch on tonight. I'm gonna get my sketch on. You guys can watch. Thanks for joining. Like I said, hope everybody's having a good weekend, doing some fun stuff. My wife and I just got back from dinner, had a nice dinner downtown OKC. Had to fight a little bit of traffic. There's a Thunder playing tonight. The champs, the world champion, Oklahoma City Thunder, playing downtown tonight, so a little bit of traffic. But that's okay. By the time we got out, the game was going on and the traffic was gone. It was quite nice. Yeah, so just gonna try to get some of this perspective knocked out here. Hope everybody's having a good day. Had a good day today. Guess the day's mostly over. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Not sure where everybody's at in the world. I know a couple people are in Oklahoma City. It was pretty nice here today. It was about 60 degrees. Kind of a nice spring day. A little cool in the shade and the wind, but for the most part, pretty nice. This time of year, can't complain. Had some storms last night, overnight, but not anywhere near us, up east of here. Some of them got pretty sporty, I think. I think there was some damage, a couple of tornadoes. Like I said, not anywhere near the Oklahoma City area. But that time of year, here, this part of the world, we get some pretty interesting weather. It changes fast. It can be kind of dicey at times, especially the stuff that comes through at night. It's harder for all of the weather people to track them in the dark. I mean, they still have the radar and everything, but a little harder for them to pinpoint. A lot of times people are asleep, so a little more dangerous. But, we have fairly good warnings now. They have improved quite a bit. So, yeah. I had a lot of fun. Had a wild week this week at work. As you guys know, I'm an architect here in Oklahoma City, and had a long week this week. I had an in-house charrette. Had one of our design architects from our Florida office come into town, and he and I kind of sequestered ourselves in my office this week for every day till about 10 o'clock at night, and working on a project, trying to get the programming done, get floor plans laid out, get massing and blocking. It was a pretty intense week. A lot of really focused design effort, which is fun, but also can be a little bit exhausting. You have to really exercise your brain. So it's nice tonight to be able to kind of take some time and I did a couple of sketches earlier today. I always tell people my sketching is kind of like therapy. It's very relaxing. To people that don't sketch, that might seem kind of crazy, but for those of you that do anything like that, or anything like reading, or if you do woodworking or any kind of craft or making, you know what I'm talking about. It's just kind of nice to let yourself kind of do something that you are passionate about and you enjoy, that you can just kind of lose yourself in, lose track of time, and just enjoy. So I got a couple of sketches in earlier today. I thought, man, I'll do this tonight. I know it's late. I didn't know how many people would pop on. Again, it looks like just a few of you late night people. Don't you people have jobs? Go to bed. What's the matter with you? Nah, I know, it's the weekend. about got. I'm just, looking at my little model here, kind of trying to figure out, all of these little perspective lines, and this goes on up. I really don't have that quite tall enough, but and we're going to pretend, for the sake of this sketch, that this is some kind of a structure, because I'm going to draw some people down here. Yeah. So I can't tell. I'm looking at I have my screen mirrored onto my desktop here. How many people are still on? It looks like there's only 2 people on. Somebody give me a thumbs. 2 people. Who's still on? It shows me who joined, and then it shows there's 2 people. Only 2 people hanging on. Man, I gotta do a better job of advertising. Polly and Skill Sketch. All right. Thank you, guys. I'm trying to make it where it's not so boring. Keep my audience interested. Maybe I should have, maybe I should do some, we can do some hand shadows or something, some hand puppets maybe. Something, I don't know. Get some, maybe I need some music. I don't know. Instagram will probably block it. They're strange with that kind of stuff. I don't know if you can do music in lives or not. Interested in my people. Yeah, I can talk about it a little bit, sure. Yeah, my people, they're obviously kind of blob people. And they're really there just for scale. I don't really do sketches of, people, portraits or anything, but in my architectural sketches, scale's important. So entourage is always an important part of that. So, so otherwise you don't know how big this is, right? If I don't draw a person here, because we know what a person is, right? Relatively. And so if I draw a person, okay, well that's a couple of stories. That's, 8, 10, 12 stories. It's tall. If I don't draw anything in there, that you don't have any scale. So that's really what they're there for. And this is kind of just a stylized person that I kind of just developed. That's kind of a catch-all, person that's just kind of a blob head and a body. And, I usually kind of give them some shade, and depending on how far away they are, if that's the horizon line, these guys are a long ways away. These guys are closer. This guy's quite close, right? He's got a staff or something. Night walkers, yeah. Somebody, they do kind of look a little post-apocalyptic, don't they? Somebody one time said, somebody commented on one of my sketches and called them pod people. I actually kind of like that. I was like, pod people, it's kind of cool. Kind of sounds like they're kind of zombie-like. I don't know, a lot of my drawings are they have this kind of post-apocalyptic feel to it. I don't know. It's not intentional. I'm not trying to send out any kind of dark message or anything. I am a stark minimalist as a designer, as an architect, just because of the time I came up in school. Minimalism, brutalism, That's kind of my style. So it's very cold, right? It's very cold, kind of not anti-human, but there's a reason it was called brutalism. So that's hope that answers that, kind of. All right, I'm going to come in here with my Fude nib. I showed you guys this before. I didn't write it on the list here, but this is a Fude nib pen from Relic Pens. Oh, man, there we go. You can see the bent nib. You get this really fat line with it. So it's great for doing these kind of big areas of dark where I really want to hit this dark. And like I said, I'm going to come in here in a minute, do a little bit of watercolor, but I want to hit some of these areas of this kind of dark, this negative space. It just gives the drawing some depth and dimension. And sometimes that's a little easier to do than I like doing it with the ink rather than the watercolor. And this is just this is one of those things that you kind of, I don't really following rules. It's kind of what looks right. Yeah, see that? Get that little overhang. Give that some shadow. That's got some shadow. That's got a shadow. Nice. Starting to come together. Yeah. All right. I can live with that. I can live with that. I'm gonna give just a little bit of surface to this. Some of these big planes here. So I'm gonna come back and you notice when you turn the pen over, this is how you normally hold it. When you turn it over upside down, you get this nice fine line. You can do the same thing just by using up the pressure on the regular side, but it's easier to do. By just turning it upside down. Again, all I'm trying to do here is add a little bit of surface texture to this, to these objects, these surfaces. Yeah. All right. Thumbs down? Thumbs up? What do you think? let's throw some color. Mountains. Hi, Mauricio. How are you, my friend? Thanks for joining. I think you may be the lone viewer right now. I know it's late. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for your support. Yeah, it's late here as well. I apologize. You know, it was a busy day. Well, not busy, just a lazy Saturday, but a lot going on. Didn't have a chance to get on till late. I thought, well, I usually try to do one of these every weekend, so I'll go ahead and pop on. If everybody's on, that's great. If not, well, you know, we'll get it next time, I guess. Yeah, so you popped on late, but I'm sketching one of my models that I built. I built this basswood model a few weeks ago. Just a composition of kind of a high-rise. And so I just doing a sketch of it. And thought it would be something a little different. Not sketching an existing building or something completely from memory or imagination. Yeah, something a little different. So I'm going to add some color to this that's not on the model, because obviously the model's a monochromatic thing, basswood. But we're going to give it some color in my sketch, because I can do whatever I want in my sketch. That's the beauty of the sketch. It's mine, no one else's. I am the designer, builder, contractor, owner, and tenant. So I can do whatever I want. Everybody else can go pound sand. It's a little wet. I like that blue. That's that Payne's gray. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, since this doesn't have any color in the model, I'm just going to kind of get a little crazy. Let this thing be pretty exotic. I like the yellow there for that guy. What do you think? I like yellow. Yellow. It's kind of a little ground plane here. I like it. Let's get a little bit. Let's see. I say watch this. Watch this. Let's get a little bit of this purple in here. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. That's a little strong. So we're gonna ease that. There we go. Nothing is ever all one color, and I'm colorblind, so I should know. Yeah, I have used ratio. I have used color pencils. I prefer ink and watercolor. It's just what I like. But I've done a lot of stuff in the past, especially used a lot of color pencils. I've done a lot of stuff in graphite over the years too. I just tend to kind of go back to watercolor and ink. I like the ink for sure. It reproduces better. When you're trying to scan drawings and take photographs of drawings and post them for publication, things like that. Ink is unmatched. I did a lot of Prismacolor stuff in my professional career. I worked at a firm where we did a lot of master planning stuff. So we did a lot of these, like big aerial illustrations for, master planning parks and streetscapes. And those tended to be, they kind of lended themselves really well to color pencil because it's very soft. And I always quite liked the originals, and I always hated reproductions because they just didn't reproduce at all. They're terrible. I mean, actually horrible. Like, they looked like crayons, like Crayola when you reproduced color pencil. But yeah, maybe some night I'll do just a graphite illustration. I've done a lot of that, and sure, I can. It's a little different technique and different approach than doing line work with ink, obviously, because with graphite you can rely a little more on it's a little easier to get value, and not rely so much on everything with a pen as line work. Value is all line work, right? Either hatching, cross hatching, whatever. You're relying on the pure line work to get value, shade and shadow. When you do pencil, you can shade things, you can darken things, you can softer. It's a little easier. I say easier. Easier is not the right word. It's different. But yeah. All right, I'm gonna let this dry a second, and then I'm gonna put a little bit. I need a little bit more darks, some shadow. Maybe I'll do a little bit here on this ground plane while I'm waiting for the body of this to dry a little bit. They do make some, speaking of different, media, they make some really great things now. They make a bunch of like watercolor brushes and brush markers. I have a bunch of markers here, and I've done that. Maybe I'll do some markers sometime too. I've got a bunch of these markers here. They're grays, different grays. Those are a lot of fun. I used a lot of markers when I was in college back in the 90s. That was the 80s, 90s. Markers were, big thing. And those are kind of fun. They're quick. But yeah, they make they make watercolor pencils. Of course, they make like these kind of pastel pencils now. There's all kinds of different, awesome different media out there than there used to be. So it's pretty cool. There's no shortage of toys. But I think a lot of people tend to, this is a generalization, I think a lot of people tend to kind of bounce from thing to thing. They buy some, I see, and nobody ever really masters anything. Yeah, you can definitely come back and add some picture or some watercolor or a pencil over the watercolor. You can do middle mixed media. That's true. You can do that, and you can get some really cool effects. Get a little texture, especially on this watercolor paper. It picks up a little bit of that. That grain picks up. Yeah, you're right. So that's a cool technique. And again, that was something I used to do a lot of with when I did markers. Is we do a lot of marker sketches, and then you come back with some color pencils over the top, and you can kind of soften it up a little bit, hit it with some highlights, some whites and some yellows. And so yeah, using multiple media is always a good idea and a cool idea to get something a little different and kind of get the best out of each one. Like I said, the color pencils are very smooth. They're very soft. The watercolor is very transparent and is also soft, but combining the two can give you kind of a very cool look. All right, this is a little drier now. I'm going to come in here, little darks in a few areas just to give this some more depth. Get some shadow underneath this big overhang here. think I'm almost done. I don't want to keep you guys. Well, one guy. Mauricio, I won't keep you any longer. Thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it. It was good virtually visiting with you. All right, I'm calling it done. Thanks for watching. Happy weekend. Stay sketchy, my friends. Yes, tomorrow we have lost an hour. Take care, man.